Welcome to the Disneyland with Kids podcast, where we help you plan your vacation in 30 minutes or less. Today's episode is all about Halloween time at Disneyland Resort. We have tips and tricks to get you through one of the spookiest and most magical times of year at Disneyland. I'm your host, Jessica from The Happiest Blog on Earth.
And I'm Becca with This Crazy Adventure Called Life.
Becca, I'm super excited to cover Halloween time because we really haven't gotten into it on our podcast here at Disneyland with Kids, so it is definitely time.
It definitely is. And this is a great year to talk about it because, Jessica, what are we doing in September, the first ever time?
The Disneyland with Kids Halloween Days. We're calling it DwK Halloween Days, and we have a whole weekend full of events for Disneyland with Kids members.
Yeah, my family is so excited, and you can buy tickets to this event. The event ticket unlocks hotel deals, like savings of up to $70 per night on Howard Johnson and Courtyard theme park entrance, two of our favorite hotels. It unlocks the breakfast with us one morning, a swag bag, free registration with Nannyland. I've used them. I love them. So lots of great perks that definitely make the event ticket worth it. But do know that the event ticket does not include your admittance to Disneyland and things like that. But we hope everyone will join us. We're going to do an Oogie Boogie Bash, and we're going to do some in-park meetups and some out-of-park meetups for those that maybe don't have a park ticket and still want to hang out with us. So you can go to disneylandwithkids.info/events to get your tickets and to find out more about that event.
Right. It's so exciting, and we're just wrapping up final details on that. And it is going to be during Halloween time. So Becca, why don't you tell us the dates of Halloween time at Disneyland Resort this year?
Okay, so Disneyland is kicking off Halloween time for the second year in a row. They're doing it before Labor Day. So it starts September 2nd and it goes clear through October 31st, obviously Halloween Day. And our event, I don't know if I mentioned the actual dates, is September 15th through 18th. So we're there kind of at the beginning and before the crowds get too big with the fall break. So it's going to be a great time. I love Halloween time at Disneyland, and I go multiple times usually during the season every single year.
Right. And as we take you through this podcast episode, we're going to kind of take you through some of the things that you'll experience at Disneyland Resort during Halloween time, and of course, some of the things that we'll be experiencing during our DwK Halloween Days. So September 2nd through October 31st is when all of these things take place. So one, if you're looking for Halloween decorations, you will see those starting September 2nd all the way through October 31st, and then they come down that night. So don't expect to still see Halloween decor on November 1st. It's during those 2 months, which we almost have 2 complete months. It's pretty amazing.
It is. And the one thing I do want to point out, though, is if you're going towards the end of Halloween, you will probably catch a couple of holidays colliding, and not just at the Haunted Mansion, because they start to put up Sleeping Beauty's Winter Castle. They put that up towards the end of October, so you might get a little bit of both holidays in there.
Exactly. So let's talk about the Halloween decorations. I love Disneyland Park's Halloween decorations. It gives you more of a classic fall festive feels. So when you first walk into Disneyland, I mean, even at the gates, tell us some of the things we can expect as we go into Disneyland Park with Halloween happenings and decor.
You know, right above the entrance gates where you scan your tickets, there are a bunch of pumpkins that are shaped like our favorite characters. You have Goofy and Mickey and Donald and Minnie. So that right there welcomes you to Halloween time at Disneyland. And it, you know, lots of oranges in Disneyland, on the Disneyland side. And You walk past those gates, and the first thing you're going to be greeted with is that floral Mickey arrangement that is in front of the train station is often a vampire Mickey, but I'm wondering if that's going to change this year because spoiler alert for probably later on is that they're changing the costumes that Mickey and Minnie are going to be wearing. And so since he's not going to be a vampire anymore, I wonder if they'll change how they do that.
Nice observation. That'll be fun to see if we get something a little bit different. Now, as we head into Main Street, USA, this is one of my favorite places during Halloween time. What catches your eye?
Oh my goodness, the giant Mickey jack-o'-lantern. It goes kind of near the flagpole where they put the Christmas tree during Christmas time. And it is so fun. It's a giant pumpkin that's carved with Mickey's face and then two little pumpkins for his ears. And when you walk in, it's just smiling at you and both eyes are open. But when you leave, you go to the other side of the pumpkin, it's winking at you as you leave the park. So that is so fun. And of course, at night, it lights up and you can get pictures in front of it. They have PhotoPass photographers there. And it is just a great welcome to Halloween time at Disneyland.
Exactly. I love that for photo spots as well. And since Mickey's face is on both sides, you can choose whichever line for the photographers is shorter. You'll get either a smiling Mickey or a winking Mickey, or maybe you'll do both because PhotoPass is included with Disney Genie Plus. And Halloween time is a great time to upgrade to Disney Genie Plus, which you can do before you even get to the parks. We have exclusive discounts with our partners at Getaway Today, and you can have Disney Genie Plus added right to your ticket. So no hassle when you walk in, you can start taking those photos and enjoying your day. So a little bit more about Main Street is they have characters in Halloween costume, like you mentioned. So who can we expect to see on Main Street all dressed up for Halloween?
Oh my goodness. All of our favorite classic characters. Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, Chip and Dale, even Clarabelle is out several times. Sometimes, I don't know if I've ever seen Daisy at Halloween out.
At Disneyland Park, yeah, that's rare, so I can't say that I have either.
Yeah, so those are who we'll mostly find there. You'll also find some of your favorite villains on Main Street. My specific one I always think of as a villain that we see on Main Street is Cruella de Vil. Mm-hmm. And even though you can find these villains other times in the park, they tend to be out more prominently and more often during Halloween time because, of course, that's their favorite season as well.
Right, and that's a good point that you can catch some villains at Disneyland Park, especially if you're not attending Oogie Boogie Bash, which is where most of the villains hang out. But there's just so much to do during Halloween time, even if you're not attending the party. One of my other favorite lands to explore during Halloween time is New Orleans Square. Of course, we have Haunted Mansion, but Haunted Mansion has a twist to it this time of year. Tell us about that.
Oh my goodness, this is my kids' favorite time to do Haunted Mansion because it becomes Haunted Mansion Holiday. And before you go holiday, that sounds more like Christmas. Let's not forget that this is based off of The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is when Jack Skellington and his friends decide that they're kind of done with Halloween and they want to be a part of Christmas. So the two holidays are colliding here, and it does stay open through the holidays as well, but it kicks off right here at Halloween time. And let me tell you, this is why you're going to want Genie Plus during Halloween time. Even if you normally are like, I can go without Genie Plus. I know how to work the parks without what used to be Fast Pass and is now Lightning Lane. The lines for this ride when it is the Haunted Mansion holiday can get pretty long pretty quickly in the morning. So Genie Plus will get you access to that Lightning Lane once per day. And so you can go on that with not a long wait and enjoy that layover. And it is amazing. It has, jack-o'-lanterns all throughout, but also Christmas stuff. And every year they create a brand new gingerbread house that goes in the ballroom scene. And last year, homage to all the previous gingerbread houses. And so I'm excited to see what they do this year.
I know, Becca, and I am a big believer in speaking your dreams out loud. So I'm going to share one of my Haunted Mansion holiday wishes. I want to be there inside Haunted Mansion as they assemble the gingerbread house. So
Oh my goodness,
before
yes.
you guys start thinking, yeah, me too, it's not open to the public when they do
No.
that, or media for that matter, but I am a big believer of speaking your dreams out loud, and who knows, maybe someday I'll get to see that come true. I just think it would be incredible. They've done some behind the scenes things that you can see on Disney Plus as they put the gingerbread house together, but I can't wait to see what they come up with this year because it's just incredible every time.
It really is. And speaking of Haunted Mansion Holiday, we also get some unique characters in New Orleans Square during Halloween time. We get to meet Jack Skellington and Sally. And of course, last year it was still distance character meet and greet, so they would be up on the balcony at the Haunted Mansion greeting guests and interacting with them as they waited in the queue. But this year we expect in-person meet and greets to still be, we just got those back. We expect them to still be going on. And so usually they'll find a little alcove or somewhere to put Jack and Sally so that everyone can go and meet and greet with them and get pictures with them.
Right. And now let's move through Disneyland and go to Frontierland because this is again returns to the classic. I'm specifically thinking of the Pioneer Mercantile, which is one of the shops in Frontierland. It's just so cute. It's covered with classic pumpkins and a harvest type of vibe. But Frontierland, we spent a lot of time there last year.
We did.
Highlights of that area.
So, in addition to the mercantile having, hay bales and things like that, another thing right in that area is the Halloween tree. Jessica, do you know the history of that?
I do. And for those of you who need a little more history, they actually have it right there at the Halloween tree. But tell us where we can find that.
It is in Frontierland. So as you walk into Frontierland, almost to the Golden Horseshoe, you'll find it there on the left-hand side. And it's decorated all out in Halloween lights, and it turns on at night. Now, I will say last year, it was not on for the kickoff weekend when we were there. I don't know if you remember that. But hopefully this year it will be. If not, it will be ready soon after, I am sure. And it's just kind of fun to see.
Yeah, and not only that, it's based off of and inspired by the Halloween Tree book by Ray Bradbury. It's a fantasy novel, and the plaque there under the base of the tree tells you a little bit more about how this became a tradition at Disneyland.
Definitely. It's so cool to see that. And so moving on, so this is a separate holiday, but they kind of overlap. And so also in Frontierland, we have a celebration of Dios de los Muertos. I hope I'm saying that right. I always think I'm saying it right and someone corrects me, but we have that holiday that we celebrate. It is a separate holiday. I always like to point that out because so many people wrap it together with Halloween. That is the Day of the Dead, and kind of we've seen if you've seen Coco, you kind of get the gist of it. And it is after Halloween. The official is November 1st to 2nd, I believe. And so it is celebrated through November 2nd. So even though the rest of Halloween stuff, again, they're separate holidays, but I'm still saying the rest of Halloween stuff. When the Halloween stuff comes down, that will stay up until November 2nd, along with the ones, I know we're talking Disneyland, but the ones over in California Adventure, they also stay up through November 2nd. And I'm pretty sure we will have another meet and greet there with Miguel from Coco, and probably also they'll continue to have Mirabelle there just because she has been so popular.
Yeah, Mirabelle keeps switching. She can't decide if she likes to hang out at California Adventure or Disneyland, so it's always good to check on the Disneyland app under Entertainment, and you'll find all these things there as well. The display for Dia de los Muertos and everything that you're looking for during the Halloween time season. So there's one more thing in Disneyland that's been around in the past, but not so recent past. Ghost Galaxy in Tomorrowland. Do you think we're going to get that back, or is that farewell forever?
I don't know. It was not mentioned when they made the Halloween announcement for this year. So I think we might be saying farewell to it.
Okay, and just real quick, Ghost Galaxy is an overlay of Space Mountain, and it's the worst thing ever.
Yes.
No.
Like it
So you don't
traumatized
want
my
it.
son.
Yeah, we don't want it back. I personally don't want it back. If there's anyone listening that does want it back, please let us know, because most people are fine with this not being around. And like Becca said, it wasn't mentioned yet in any of the Halloween time press releases. So I'm good with Space Mountain. What about you?
I definitely am. Like, well, I don't go on it anyways because I get so I used to love that ride, but I get motion sickness too easily now. But yeah, it traumatized my oldest son when he was like 8 or 9, which was one of the last years they had it. And he spent like weeks trying to get me to let him write letters to Disney to tell them that they needed to have bigger warning signs up about how scary it was and all this stuff. So
it is scary, but also let's compare when we're talking about Ghost Galaxy or Haunted Mansion Holiday. I find that Haunted Mansion Holiday is less scary than the regular Haunted Mansion. Do you agree?
I agree to a point. Like,
Okay.
it's still scary in like the stretching room when because everyone quotes it with them and then does a scream at that one point. You know, that part I still think is just as scary as the original Haunted Mansion, but the rest, I just think it's a little more whimsical. And it's also a movie that kids, like in our house, we say age 5 is when you get to watch The Nightmare Before Christmas. And so once they're 5, they've seen that movie and it's something they can relate to. So I think that also helps them, and it's more bright colors and that kind of stuff. But some people find it less scary and other people say it's about the same.
Okay.
So it's
great
definitely
points.
something to think about.
Awesome. Good to know. Okay, so as we move from Disneyland Park over to California Adventure, we're kind of saying goodbye to the fall festivities, and we have a different vibe at California Adventure. What would you say is the vibe over there and some of the standouts?
So it's definitely a little more spooky, I would say, over in California Adventure, at least at night. So they use a different color scheme, purples and greens and blacks, and lots of bats are part of the the decor and stuff. And as you walk in, you have this giant Oogie Boogie over the gates that talks to you, which can kind of scare some kids at first, saying, "Oh, you're coming to see me," and wah ha and all this stuff. So it's definitely a little more. I wouldn't say adult because it's not scary, but it is a little edgier, I guess, than over
edgy
at
is a
Disneyland.
great way to put it.
Yeah, and the focal point there where you have the pumpkin over at Disneyland is here a little off to the side at the hub of Carthay Circle. You have a statue of the Headless Horseman, and so that's also a little spookier. And as the lights go down on Buena Vista Street and Hollywoodland, it's lots of purple lights and spooky. It does have spookier music. I do know that sometimes that music over in Hollywoodland and stuff can scare my kids a little bit. And then at night, they also put large projections of Oogie Boogie and bats and things like that on Carthay Circle. So it's definitely a creepier vibe, but a fun creepy.
Yeah, when we're talking about Halloween time and Oogie Boogie Bash compared to some other local theme parks like Knott's and Magic Mountain and Universal, this is nothing compared to that. Like, some of those you have to be a certain age to even go to because they're so scary. Oogie Boogie Bash, I wouldn't say is meant to frighten you or your children. Like, it might because of sensitivity and ages of kids, but that's not the point. The point is for families to come and have a good time. So just thinking about that in general, so you know as you go into Halloween time, if you're spending time at both parks, and then especially if you're going to Oogie Boogie Bash. So, all right, let's head over to Paradise Gardens Park. I love this area and the culture we always see in the parks throughout the year, but especially Plaza de la Familia. What can we expect there?
Oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite areas to be at during Halloween time. And again, not the same holiday, but often tied together. Dios de la Muerte. Same, thing is kind of over in Frontierland where they have those classic Mexican decorations, and you really get the vibe of the movie Coco. It really just feels like you kind of are there in that movie, and that is helped by the musical celebration of Coco, which I think is my all-time favorite street show that Disneyland has put on.
It's amazing. And in that area throughout the day, you're going to have live mariachi music at Paradise Gardens Bandstand. You can have photo opportunities in the past with a hand animated figure of Miguel from Coco. And then they also have the Tree of Life photo location and memory wall. And it's really cool too because they have different displays that tell you all about this cultural celebration. So you're not just walking through it and seeing how great it is, you're also learning about it. And I think taking the time to learn about those different celebrations is really important, and it helps you immerse yourself in those cultures and celebrate alongside.
Definitely. I love that area. And again, it has the musical celebration Coco. And just like over at Frontierland, this will run through November 2nd because it is a separate holiday, and Disney really wants to make sure to pay tribute to that holiday and the culture and not just cut it off because they're done with Halloween, and they want to acknowledge that they are two separate holidays.
Yeah, and a musical celebration of Coco is a street parade that runs several times a day, and you definitely want to make time for it.
Definitely. It's like I said, it's my favorite. I'm not a street performance person very much. I have one at Christmas that I really like in the same area, but this one is definitely my all-time favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, you've gotten me to enjoy that even more too, just knowing that it's one of your favorites and hanging out over there, making time for it. And it's so easy to do because it shows so many times a day. You're often in that area anyways, so check the schedule on the Disneyland app and spend a little extra time over there. And that is before you head into Cars Land, because Cars Land is everything. Like, if they just had Cars Land decorated, people would still want to go just to see this. Tell us about it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So Cars Land gets a complete overlay for Halloween, spelled Haul, and it is amazing. So right at the Cars Land sign, you start with a slug bug car type thing that is decorated in a witch costume, and you can get your photo there with Photo Pass. Now, if you're going to Oogie Boogie Bash, Photo Pass is included with that event ticket. And then if you're going during the day, of course, Genie Plus, you get those Photo Pass photos with that. And again, we have those linked with discount tickets through our partners at Getaway Today. And then after that, you get 2 ride overlays in one land. Mater's Junkyard Jamboree becomes Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, and Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters becomes Luigi's Honkin' Halloween. Both fun. Mostly it's just new music to these rides, but it's still fun. And then let's just talk about the decorations in the land, because everything is made out of car-related items. And it's so cool how they make them look like, you have oil cans that are made into spiders. You have different kind of vehicles made into spiders. There's one that you can sit in right in front of Flo's. They have tires with cones and all these things to make it look like a creepy face. It is amazing. And of course it's 10 times, it's 10 times more when the lights go down and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It is definitely my favorite land as far as decorations. I love Plaza de Familia, but as far as the theming going with the land, it's my favorite one at Halloween time.
Yes, and even the residents of Radiator Screams dress up for the occasion. You can meet some of your favorite characters in their costumes. Tell us about some of those.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember. I know Mater is like a vampire type costume. I don't know what you call car vampire, but that's what he is. And if I remember correctly, Lightning and I can't remember if Cruz is also are superheroes, if I think correctly. But I do know that Red is a clown.
So cute.
I love that.
So you can meet them in their regular spots in front of Cozy Co Motel. And again, you can find that on the Disneyland app as well. And that's throughout Halloween time. They'll be wearing those costumes or costumes, and you can get photos with them. And that is included with your Disney Genie Plus.
Yeah. So, Jessica, we've covered almost everything, but I'm going to make you cover this next time because I've never done it. And it's in Avengers Campus. We have one more ride overlay.
That's true. Unfortunately, we do.
I know, you're not a fan. My husband loves this one, though.
So we have Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout turns into Guardians of the Galaxy Monsters After Dark. It's not my favorite, but I'll still go on it because I love the original version. Now, this actually happens after dark, sort of. It's supposed to change at sunset, but we still have a later sunset during that time of year, and so sometimes they do switch it over later in the afternoon. So just be aware, if you want to ride the regular Guardians and Monsters After Dark version, you can do that. You can do one in the morning and one in the evening. Or you can save it for your Oogie Boogie Bash night and ride it then. But it just changes to different lights in the inside and outside with different music and different visual effects. One of my favorite parts of the original Guardians is the playlist. So for this one, it's just not my jam. That's why I don't like it as much. The music, not my favorite.
Yeah, it's more, I don't know if I'd say heavy metal, but it's definitely a heavier, and it's not a classic song, right? Didn't they come up with their own song for this?
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. You guys will have to try it out. Let me know what you think of the song. And even if you decide that this ride isn't for you and you want to skip it and maybe get a treat, there's plenty of that to go around. I mean, we could take a whole podcast episode talking about all the food that comes up during Halloween time because this is part of the season at both parks. So many different things, namely churros.
Yes, my family loves Halloween time because they have so many different kinds of churros. We always do the churro challenge, but there's also like special desserts, special dishes, especially over in Plaza de la Familia, you know, the restaurants over there on Paris Garden Grill and stuff like that. It's a great time for foodies. I'm not a foodie, but Jessica, you're a designated foodie, so I know you'll be covering that for everybody once we get the information.
Tons of treats. One way to get in some of those Halloween-specific Disneyland treats is to check out some of them at Downtown Disney, which Downtown Disney is also decorated during Halloween time. Sometimes it takes them a little longer to get their decor going, so you might not see it right at the beginning of September, but you will see those treats like at Marceline's in Downtown Disney, and then Black Tap usually has some specialty crazy shakes, and there's all kinds of different things that you can try out there, maybe on your day of arrival before you kind of get started in the parks and get all caught up in everything that's happening there, from shows to attractions and character meet and greets.
Definitely.
One thing we still need to talk about is what happens when night falls over Disneyland Resort. We have so many nighttime entertainment options. Some of those are exclusive for Oogie Boogie Bash, but let's talk about the one that everyone can enjoy over at Disneyland Park.
Yes, so this only happened when they switched to Oogie Boogie Bash and moved it over to California Adventure. They used to have an exclusive fireworks show only for the Halloween party, and that was Halloween Screams. But now that Oogie Boogie Bash is happening and it's in California Adventure Park, they have opened Halloween Screams to the general guests. So They have this show nightly. There is projections and the music and the story, but on the weekends or other, like special nights, they will have fireworks, weather permitting. So it's a great show. It's one of the best done fireworks shows, I think, as far as Disneyland fireworks shows go. And of course, all of them are amazing, but this one is really good, especially with the storytelling.
That's so true, Becca. And I love that on the nights without fireworks, you can really just kind of walk up to any space that's showing projections, like It's a Small World or the castle, without much wait time and still enjoy the storytellings of Disney. Now, you have been listening to Jessica and Becca helping you prep for Halloween time at Disneyland. There are more nighttime shows that are available at Oogie Boogie Bash, which we will be participating in during our DwK Halloween Days event. Now, this is going to tie into our Would You Rather, Becca. Okay, so traditionally during Oogie Boogie Bash, we have Villainous World of Color, which you can only see during Oogie Boogie Bash. And we also have Frightfully Fun Parade, which you can only see during Oogie Boogie Bash. Now, I love that these are exclusive to the party because it just gives more value to the things that we do during Oogie Boogie Bash. But my would you rather is, if we switched one of those nighttime offerings to be during all hours, whether it's party nights or non-party nights, which one do you think they should give to everyone? Would it be Villainous World of Color or Frightfully Fun Parade?
Oh my gosh, just give him Frightfully Fun Parade. Just give it to him.
Because we had it before and because we don't care, or why?
It needs an update. It's like, this parade, it's got some really cool parts to it, but they space the floats out so much. And it's really, it's a parade that goes on for 25-30 minutes, but could be a 5-minute parade.
Okay, so you would give that to the general public just because of those things. So Let's kind of switch the question. If you're keeping one just for Oogie Boogie Bash, what would it be? Which you kind of answered, which would be Villainous World of Color, but why is that?
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, it's only been there one time. We don't even know if it's coming back this year. It wasn't listed under Oogie Boogie Bash, I don't think. I hope it comes back. Mm-hmm. But we had it for 1 year, and of course, then the closure, and then last year, World of Color wasn't running yet.
Right.
And as someone that got to see it the first year it was there, it has such a great story. So much. I like World of Color because of seeing all the classic scenes, but there's not really a continuous story to it. And so I think Villainous really takes care of that disconnect that some people have from World of Color because of that lack of story. And the storytelling is just amazing.
Perfect. So we've got to keep something a little exclusive to Oogie Boogie Bash, and definitely. I like that.
Yeah.
And there's more than that, of course, and you can go back and listen to our Oogie Boogie Bash episode a while back that we'll share in the show notes. And we'd love to see you at our Disneyland with Kids Halloween event. You can book your event ticket now at disneylandwithkids.info/events.
Now, hey, Jessica, we can't go yet because you haven't told me your answer to that question. Nice try.
Right. Yes, I think I agree with you that we could have Frightfully Fun Parade for everyone. And honestly, I wouldn't mind moving it back over to Disneyland Park.
Yeah, I agree. It would be a great one to have at Disneyland Park, especially if they're already going to, we don't expect Main Street Electrical Parade to stay past the summer. And so I think that would be a great time to bring that over there, in my opinion. So that's a good idea. Send it back over to Disneyland.
Thanks so much.
Bye. And although I'm sure you would be sad that your favorite song, I know that's your favorite song of all the Disney songs.
Stop. Now it's in my head. Actually, I prefer that song to the Monsters After Dark, so I will take the Frightfully Fun Parade song over that. Thanks for listening to the Disneyland with Kids podcast. We'll see you real soon at Disneyland.